A percent compares a number to 100. So we write percents as a fraction out of 100. Your denominator is always going to be out of 100. So write each percent as a fraction. Some may be improper, but make sure your answer is in simplest form, just like we've always been doing fractions. So with the percent, you always write it out of 100, and then you reduce it. So 5/100ths reduces to 1/20th. 72%, write it out of 100, and then reduce it. So this one I could divide by 6, or 2 is 36 over 100, or 50. But then I could divide by 2 again, and it's 18 over 25. 13% out of 100 does not reduce. So that's my answer. And 125% is 125 divided by 100. And that reduces. So I can divide them both by 5 and get 7 out of 20. Oh, that's not right. Okay, 125 divided by 5. Oops, I messed up. 125 divided by 5. Oh, why I wrote 7, but is 25. So it's 25 over 20. But then you can still reduce that. Which divide this by 5, divide this by 5 is 5 out of 4. Is your final answer. So to write it as a fraction, write each percent out of 100. And then second part, write each percent as a decimal. We put the percent as a fraction over 100, then divide in your calculator. So you write this out of 100, just like you did before, but now you just divide in your calculator. So 12 divided by 100 is 0.12 as a decimal. 27 divided by 100 is 0.27 as a decimal. 144 divided by 100 is 1.44. 3%, so 3 divided by 100, put it in your calculator, is 0.03. So that's how you write it as a decimal. Now, to write it as a percent, what you do is you write it, you have this decimal, and you multiply it by 100. See, because this is basically 42 out of 100, which is 42%. So what you're doing if you have a number as a decimal is you move the decimal over twice, because 100 has 2 zeros in it. So this is 42%. This one you're going to move the decimal over twice, so it's 33.3%. This one's not written as a decimal, so I need to write it as a decimal by doing this in my calculator, which is 0.0875. So then I move the decimal over 1, 2 to the right. So it's going to be 8.75%. This one is already decimal, so I move it over to 1.75%, or 175%. And then the last one, order the following from least to greatest. Maybe turn all of these into decimals. Turn these into decimals. So this is already a decimal, 0.35. 2/5, let's make it a decimal. Put it in your calculator, is 0.4. 30%, a percent, you move the decimal over, is 30 out of 100, which is 0.3. 50% is 50 out of 100, which is 0.5. Now we're going to put these in order from least to greatest. So the least one is 0.3, or 30%. because that's 0.30, and 0.30 is less than 0.35. Then I have 0.35, then I have 0.4, and then I have 50%. Okay, then the last one. Let's write these all as decimals. So I have 1.34, doesn't change. 129% as a decimal is 129 divided by 100. So 129 divided by 100 is 1.29. And 1 1/5 is 1.2, and then 1.41. So the number that is the least is 1.2 because of that 2 spot. This is 20, this one's 29. So I do 1.2, cross it off. 1.29, cross it off. 1.34, cross it off. And 1.41. That's in order from least to greatest.